Hello out there, Melissa Jane, and I am here with my awesome band Final Gravity. Hi guys!
Ooh.
How are you doing? And today we are talking about Revolution Calling, a cover we did. Before we get into the band chat about Revolution Calling, I think we should start off with, what are you drinking?
I'm once again drinking Russian River beers. I'm having an STS Pils, mainly to kind of highlight that normally Russian River beer is really hard to find, but I don't know if it's COVID or maybe they're producing more, but it's fairly easy to find now. So go to like Bristol Farms, you can probably find this beer. Also allows me to show off my cool HTML tag type beer glass, indicating where the head should start and the body should end. Unfortunately, I don't quite have it at proper parameters, but the beer is still very good.
Well, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
I'll just have to, get a couple more and see if I can get that perfect pour going.
This is from Transplants Brewing, a brewery you'll probably hear us talking about some more in the coming months. Here's the awesome label by B.L. Singleton. This is an amber ale called Mortal Enemies, and it is pretty well balanced between malt and hops. It's quite tasty.
I've got a beer, Lost Abbey, Judgment Day.
Their nickname for a while was Flat Abbey because all their beers were flat, but it looks like they've solved the problem.
Yeah, this looks good.
Well, I'm drinking a Nug of War from Pizza Port Brewing, IPA. They're a West Coast wet hop IPA. So good stuff. Cheers.
Mike, you kind of suggested this song. Why don't you talk about that motivation for covering this particular song?
Operation Mindcrime is one of my all-time favorite records, and I consider it to be a classic of progressive metal. And it's interesting because, I view it as just being a straight up, prog metal album, like a total classic. And it's funny how we got a little bit of hate because I guess some people don't really think of Queensryche as holding up the way that maybe we do. So that was kind of interesting to kind of see how, I think Charles and I have been to a couple of Queensryche shows in more recent years where you have a lot of more straight metal people going. Nothing against it, but definitely a different fan base than if you're going like a Haken or a Dream Theater show. So, I think, I don't regret covering it, but it's just interesting how maybe our view and the general public view may differ a little bit in terms of that song and how it holds up. Now, lyrically, I think it definitely holds up, but I think one surprise there is that I don't want to get too political about the motivations behind it, but if you listen to the lyrics, there are clear parallels to what's going on, but not only in terms of some of our political climate, but maybe some of the conspiracy theories out there. So that was a little bit of a maybe surprise in terms of what we've been encountering lately.
Yeah, it's funny how like you just see like throughout history these things that kind of just keep repeating, and you think, oh, well, that must be the end of it, but no, there's always like things still stand the test of time. A little bit like our album Surviving Humanity that we wrote 9 years ago, and when that comes out, you'll see, I think that still stands the test of time too from when we wrote it.
Like Mike was saying, I'm a big fan of the band, going all the way back to their very first EP, which was like 1983, I think. And there was just something really different about them, although they were kind of lumped in with other hair metal bands like Dokken or, they opened for Kiss on a tour. They never really struck me as that kind of a band. They were more serious and they had something more that they wanted to convey, their messages. And then when their first album came out called The Warning, it was like this gothic metal, part of it was recorded in a cathedral. It was produced by a guy who did Pink Floyd's The Wall album. That was the producer. They clearly were reaching for something way more than just, Rock You Like a Hurricane. And then their next album, they reinvented themselves. And then this album, their third one, Operation Mindcrime, was like even a whole level beyond. I had high expectations for it, but when it came out, it just blew me away. And it's still one of my favorite albums from the 80s. It sounds a little dated now, there's no question. The production, which by the way was by Peter Collins, the same guy who produced some of those 80s Rush records that were real heavy on the keyboards. So yeah, the sound is a little dated, and now that we're looking at it from, 2020, looking back almost 40 years
40 years,
or
yeah.
35 years, it's maybe the difference between them and, White Lion doesn't seem as big as it did back then. But
Yeah.
at the time it came out, it was like a whole other thing.
I saw Queensryche, back during the Operation Mindcrime tour, and I remember having goosebumps. And I remember listening to the cassette, from beginning to end, and pulling out the lyrics and the liner notes and reading the words and grasping that whole concept album in one sitting, and I was like blown away. But I actually just saw Queensryche right before the whole COVID shutdown. I saw them at the House of Blues in Anaheim in March, and I'll tell you, I still got goosebumps. And the cool thing is, even though these, you say they're dated songs, but the band plays them really well now. I mean, I think a lot of them hold up, and playing them. Even Queensryche has a relatively new lineup compared to what they had 30 years ago. But you put a modern edge on it, play it in front of a modern crowd, and I still thought it was awesome. So I think it still holds up.
Just to clear it up, John, you were mentioning, I don't think the songs are dated. I just think it sounds a little dated, the production. That's it. I think the songs are still fine.
To that point, I agree with Charles that when I was listening to it and learning it, it sounded outdated. But then that's where I felt when we covered it, brought that, future sound to it. And we really took it to, a different type of production. And it came out amazingly, really translated really well. And at first I had doubts. So I'm like, I don't know, we'll see. And I was really impressed with how it did come out. I want to talk about the audio and getting all that together.
I'm having a lot of fun with everybody recording on their own end. For those at home that don't know, I mean, we didn't play the song together. Everyone recorded their parts at their own home studio and sent me the tracks, and I mixed the final track, audio track, and everyone sent the video to Charles, and he edited the video. But yeah, it's I'm having a lot of fun. I mean, it's more fun when we get to jam together. But this is a kind of fun new challenge of us doing these little quarantine videos, if you want to call it that.
Like challenge accepted, right? The audio was phenomenal, but I also was extremely impressed with the video, and I felt like this video really, it's getting to a whole new level. And thank you, Charles. You want to tell us a bit about your inspirations?
Well, everybody shot their videos and got them to me. And I'm sitting there with a stack of video going, well, how can I make this interesting? It's 4 people playing by themselves in a more or less static environment. So each video that we've done, this is our 3rd one, I've tried to add more and more effects and split screens, and Mike shot against a green screen. So I tried to do some mats and, just try to have some fun with it.
So the video editing was really great. And I loved how you had the lyrics coming up. And for me, the song Revolution Calling, it has really great lyrics. There's definitely a lot of meaning there. And that was how I connected with the song and created that was sort of the basis of figuring out what my interpretation for the song was going to be. And the vocal changes that I made, for me, made sense because they went with that emotion and feeling of the song. And I think it came out really well. And so then pairing that with you highlighting some of those lyrics just was really quite perfect. What do other people think about how it came out, or what do you feel about your performance or the whole process of this particular song?
Yeah, again, Charles, great job on the video. John, great job on the mixing. I mean, I feel like, I'm learning more with every one of these that we do about how to get better audio for the mix. I think I had like 5 or 6 guitar tracks on here, trying to kind of, attempt to begin to replicate what the Queensryche guys did. I think there's probably like 10 layers of guitar in the actual recording. But trying to get good tones and just get it where minimal work was needed in the mix. Now the video has been a learning process because I did shoot green screen, and I think I didn't have like proper lighting for it, so Charles probably had to compensate a little bit. But what I am learning is what new equipment I have to get for the next one, what new techniques I have to do. So it's been kind of a cool learning process, just kind of creating these covers. And I think we've taken another step upward with Revolution Calling, and I look forward to continuing to do so. And I guess the last thought I have is, you know, with the lyrics on there, I mean, my favorite thing at the very end is a giant vote. You know, I'm not really advocating who people should vote for, but I do strongly feel that people should vote their conscience. And, you know, I think we really do need a change in our country. I'm not going to say what change I think that is, but I think from listening to the song, what's kind of interesting about it is that people on both ends of the political spectrum could probably hear those lyrics and both agree that change is needed. They might disagree on what change is needed or how to go about it, but it is interesting to kind of see it from that perspective.
You know, for me, the fun challenge is I haven't really played a lot of cover songs in a while. So this being our third video now. So first we're tapping into the mind of Led Zeppelin, and then Rush, and now Queensryche, who have all been big influences on me, but I think that kind of goes back a ways. So it's really neat to kind of get inside their head again. And it's sort of inspiring some new ideas for me, at least what I want to translate into sort of the next round of Vinyl Gravity original songs. So it's been pretty inspiring.
You know, it wasn't until after I finished the video for Revolution Calling, I happened to go back and watch an old video that predates Melissa's days in the band for a song that Mike wrote called Line 'Em Up. And it turns out I did the same thing in that video by putting the lyrics on the screen to emphasize them, because I feel like sometimes the message of the song is important enough that you want people to actually pay attention to it. You're not just watching people, you know, playing guitar or playing drums or singing or whatever. You should really be hearing what the message that's trying to get across. So by putting words on the screen, it's a way of trying to get people to listen to the lyrics. But you don't put them all on the screen, then you just have a lyric video. But you know, by putting certain phrases and emphasizing certain ideas, the idea is that you're going to draw the listener, or the viewer in this case, into the video and pay closer attention to what is being sung, so that that the point of it all isn't just like, hey, cool, we're playing a song. It's like, no, listen to the words. You should absolutely pay attention to the political situation. And yeah, the song is about a crazy drug addict assassin, and we're not really advocating that.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any doubt of our political leanings, go check out Line 'Em Up and you'll have no doubt.
Well, even No Love, you know, that's basically all these songs. What the common subject is have a voice and don't turn a blind eye. So
yeah.
It's not so much that it's like you have to be this way and you have to think just like me, but it's think and don't just ignore stuff, and use your voice and care about things, care about how what you do might influence others, and vice versa.
And next year when we start writing for album number 3, I think we should do a Line 'Em Up type song about the year 2020. I think we'll have plenty of material to draw from.
Yeah, we might have to do like a double album if we do one for the 2020.
A double album for the one song.
For the whole year, like we might have to do a triple CD thing. I don't know. There's a lot.
There's a lot of material in 2020.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll discuss. Brings us towards the end and to the fact that we will have an album out the last Friday in January 2021, January 29th. And I'm super excited. It's going to be called Surviving Humanity. And we actually wrote this, like, it's been about 9 years, basically. And so everyone should be super excited. And guess what? We're going to release it at a beer brewery. There you go. At Transplant. That's actually where we will be doing our CD release party. Super excited for that. There's so much cool stuff we're going to be doing with Transplant. So just stick around and keep your eyes open for all the awesome updates. See you later. Thanks for hanging out, guys. And cheers.
New video coming soon.